Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Hey squad, what's poppin'? What's going on? All right, I need to work on my intro, I know. But in today's video, let's get right into it. Y'all can already tell from the title, we're gonna be talking to you guys about, or not we, me. I'm going to be talking to you guys about how much minors make. Now, I know working in a company is just so different. I mean, the rules are completely different when you're a minor. So I know I kind of like stress a lot the overall picture and the overall topics of working at Publix or working in a company, but I want to break it down a little bit more because I know some of my minors out here, when I first started working at Publix, I was a minor as well, and we all had the same questions, and I feel like maybe I should focus a little bit more on that and help my little minors out because I've been dropping a lot of videos on, the overall picture. So I strongly suggest that y'all watch those because they're kind of like standard knowledge that you should know. But in today's video, I've been getting this question a lot. How much do minors make? I dropped a video where I covered what every single position made part-time, which if you're a minor, you're going to be working part-time. So if you want to check that video out, go ahead. But I know some of y'all are just like, come on, Pat, like just cut to the chase. Like, how much do minors make? Because obviously, if you don't know, so maybe it's not obviously. If you don't know, minors can only be one position, and that is a bagger. If you're 14, 15, and if you're 16, you can work a cashier job, okay? So you can be a cashier, but you can only be a cashier. Like a lot of things in life, obviously there's rules that can be bent and things that can be done to accommodate your situation. So if you're a really good worker, I'm not gonna cap y'all, your age isn't really gonna hold you back. You're supposed to be 18 when you start customer service. I started training for customer service when I was 17. So definitely, if there's an interest, if you work well, there's things that can be done to enhance your chances of success. That's what I plan to do on my channel. Like, I want to help y'all, but I'm also letting you know that like managers can technically help you if they really want to. Some of them just don't want to, and they're like, yeah, those are the rules, we can't do it, but they really could. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give you guys like the little standard knowledge, the little background knowledge, because for the most part this is how it goes, but that's without me saying basically that these things can be banned. So this is just kind of like the overall though, like the normal way. You can get a job at Publix at 14 years old. A lot of times people are like, oh yeah, that's just what they say, but they don't actually do it. My store is full of minors, so definitely you can get hired at 14 years old. You can start applying when you're 14. Some people are like, well, I'm 13, can I apply? No, apply when you're 14, because in case they call you and then you haven't turned 14 and they do the whole background check and this and that, it's gonna come out that you lied. It's just gonna be a messy situation. Just wait a few more months till you're 14 and apply when you're 14, and then be persistent and watch all my other videos on how to get hired, and you'll get hired right when you turn 14. So you'll be okay. Now, 14 and 15-year-olds, all you can do is be a bagger. Now, most people, when they work the customer service department entails cashiers, baggers, and customer service staff, okay? When you work customer service department, which is the only department you can actually work when you're a minor, you can't do meat department, you can't do grocery, produce, pharmacy, nothing. Every other department entails that you're 18 and older, okay? So even if you're 17, you're not working in these other departments. Matter of fact, you're not even being trained in these other departments. I've always said it because I also work the pharmacy. Customer service definitely has the most leeway. I feel like the overall gist of it is a little bit easier. I think customer service is a great start for people to be in. I think it's less stressful. I've worked in multiple departments. I feel like I'm very sure of myself when I say this, and I think that if you haven't tried customer service, go ahead and get into that department, because I know a lot of people from Delhi and other departments want to get into this department. But that goes without me saying that maybe if you are a person who does better just kind of to yourself, or you're a little bit more quiet, or you don't want to be around so many people, then you might excel in a different department. Not to mention also other departments pay more. So if you're only in it for the money and you're just kind of like, I don't care which department I'm at, then go for these other departments because they pay more. Now, like I was saying, you can only be a bagger if you're 14 and 15 years old. If you're 16 years old, you can be a cashier. You can work, the cashier thing. You can work the box, the till box with the money. I've covered more in depth about what cashiers do in other videos, so check that out as well. Because over here, I just kind of want to let you know the money-wise, the money aspect of how much you're going to make. I don't want to make this video super long explaining things that I kind of already covered in other videos. But essentially, the biggest question or the biggest concern that a lot of people were asking me was, oh, I'm 16, I'm not really good at math, I hate school. How will I make sure that I don't mess up in the register? How will I make sure that I give the person back the right amount of money? Stuff like that. The computer calculates it for you, so stop stressing. You got this. You got this. You don't have to come home and practice your multiplication tables. You don't have to do that. The computer will literally do it for you. So you got this. But anyways, when you're 16, yeah, you can work the register. You can work with money, and you can probably keep, you know, moving up from there. So you can definitely be a cashier. Usually they'll probably like rotate you. Some days you'll be a cashier, some days you'll be a bagger. It really just depends about your set position, because a lot of times they like to train baggers to also know how to work a register. But keep in mind, if your actual title is not a cashier, don't be surprised when you're not getting paid as much as a cashier, I guess. If you're 17, like I said, you can start showing interest into customer service, because that's how you move up. Publix is a company that promotes within, which means that you can't just get in there and be like, yeah, I'm a customer service staff. Oh yeah, I used to work at Target and I was a manager, so can I be a manager here? No, you gotta start from the bottom, sis. You know, you gotta work your way up. You know, it's not no favoritism. It's not no, oh, I got a degree, so where do I go? You go from the bottom. So don't ever think that one person is better than this person or one person is better than you. That's not the case. Everyone's been in everyone else's shoes. So that's why you kind of like have to respect it. That's why I can understand these baggers' frustrations. That's why I can sympathize with these baggers. Why? Because I had to do it too. I've had to clean bathrooms too. I've had to sit outside and get carts too. Now there's people who stay in that position and don't move up and don't have ambition to, you know, keep growing and keep moving. But there are some people who are like, no, hell no, I'm not gonna stay out here getting carts. I'm not gonna stay here cleaning people's shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, I'm getting up out of here, and they move up. And that's kind of like what happened to me at 17. I was like, hell no. I was like, how can I go to customer service? So I'm not gonna lie, my manager was very helpful, because a lot of my managers had told me I had to wait till I was 18. So I was counting down the days till I turned 18. Cause I was always like very, very interested in moving up in the company since I was like younger. But this one manager was like, no, she's 17. We can start training her so that when she's 18, she's good to go, and we can change her name in like the title. They can change my title position or something like that, so I didn't have to really work the registers anymore, you know. And that's exactly what happened. Now, don't ever think that just because they promote you or because they move you that you won't be back in those lower positions. There's gonna be days where someone doesn't come through and you gotta come through. There's gonna be days where they're like, we had a bagger call out, can you come bag for us? And it's like part of your responsibility to kind of be like, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I suppose you don't have to, but I always did it. So definitely there's days where they put me as a cashier, and now my title is completely customer service staff, and there's days that I'm scheduled like a full cashier shift. So it doesn't really mean anything. Just because you get like promoted does not mean you could be a team leader, you could be a manager, and there's days where you're gonna be on a register, there's days where you're gonna be in customer service. Matter of fact, there's days that you're gonna be a bagger. So it really just, it's something where you gotta help wherever is needed, because it's almost kind of like a family thing. And they always say that in their handbook, like in the employee handbook, it's like, we're a family. So when one person is slacking, we gotta pick up that slack too, because we gotta all work together. And that's really how they do run things. So just make sure you take that into consideration. Now, one thing I do want to mention briefly before I go into like the pay and stuff is that every department is kind of like ran differently. And I can say this because I have worked in several departments. Now, I would definitely say, like I said, customer service is a lot bigger. It's kind of like the front end of the store. It's where the most action, I would say, occurs. To give you guys a quick example, I also work pharmacy, and there's days where I'm like, oh, I forgot I had this, or oh, I gotta go to school, oh, I gotta study for a test. And it's like, bro, there would be nobody at all to cover my pharmacy shift. And pharmacy is so short-staffed, especially in my store, where I'm like, there's just no way I can call out. Like, it's just so much more smaller, so much more like secluded, so much more like, you know, you have 5 technicians and that's it, and y'all gotta work with each other and that's it. Customer service is a lot bigger. So if there was a day where I was like, hey, can you take my morning shift? I'll take your night shift. It's so much more flexible. So, I mean, I guess this doesn't really correlate to y'all. Like, especially like if you're a minor, you're not going to be thinking about working in another department because you literally cannot. It's not like there's no type of leeway like there is in customer service. But definitely take that in consideration if you do turn 18 or if you're almost 18. Always remember, like, there's a lot more leeway in a bigger department because there's more employees, okay? So let's just go ahead and cut to the chase, because I know y'all are like, okay, come on, let's get it. All right, let's get it. So, I'm not gonna lie, even if you're 16 and you start off in the company, it doesn't mean that you're starting off as a cashier. You might be able to start out as a cashier. That's definitely up to you and the manager and whatever y'all speak about. But you can be 16 or 17. Matter of fact, you could be 18 and they might be like, we need you to start as a bagger, or we have a bagger position available. So that's the only position we can offer you. And at that point, take that position, because I always say it, get into the company and then figure out what you want, your availability, kind of like stuff like that. But get into the company, because you're not going to regret it. And you're also not going to regret subscribing to my channel and giving this video a big thumbs up and commenting down below if you're thinking of getting hired, if you have an interview, or what you got going on. Okay, so that's like a little side note. You know, share this with a friend. You know, you don't know what someone else is going through. Maybe they need a job, maybe they need some money, some shmoney, some bags. So share this video and subscribe to your girl's channel, and let's keep going. So it definitely does not mean that you're going to start off at a higher position just because you are a little older. They might need you as a bagger. And when you're 15, they might need you as a cashier. I mean, things just vary. But for the most part, a minor is starting off as a bagger. Okay? So all that intro for me to say this. You're most likely going to start off as a bagger. You might be 17 years old. You're most likely going to start off as a bagger. There's cases where you do start off as a cashier. Maybe if you're 17, most likely you have better chances of starting off as a cashier. But you usually start off as a bagger, okay? Because you got to understand the things that the levels or positions below you do in order to, appreciate the positions that you get, promoted to. So I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but like, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand where the bottom is. You got to understand what the bottom is so you can appreciate the top. Usually, no matter if you're a bagger or a cashier, I'm not gonna lie, the pay is not all that different. Usually the company starts you off at $10. So if you're a bagger or a cashier, you're getting started off at least at $10. I got started off at $10. I'm pretty sure now if you start off as a cashier, I mean, you might be getting like $10.50, you might get $11, you might be getting maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure. You know why? Because every state is different, because every county is different, because every manager is different, every store is different. So I know I got so many viewers from different places that it's like I can't really cater to a specific area because I don't know where y'all are at. But just know that usually for the most part, at least 10. Publix pays above minimum wage, so you don't got to worry about that. And I would definitely say 10 is the lowest you'll get. I would say that most places are going to pay a little bit more. Your starting pay is going to be a little bit more. Maybe not if you're a bagger, but if you're a cashier, or maybe if you're bagging in a bigger store, because I come from a very small store, it's a neighborhood Publix. But if you're like in a bigger store or something, you might be getting paid a little bit more. But it really depends, like I said, in your area. Now, $10 is not bad. And like I said, Publix is so freaking good, y'all. Like, not even on some like crazy shit, but it's so good. Like, Publix genuinely does not sponsor me or pay me or do nothing for me to do these videos. I just do them because I want to help y'all, because I understand the struggle. So it's different. Like, when you understand what the bottom is, or you understand that when people don't have jobs, they really doing the most out here to like get their bag, you just kind of like want to help people because it makes you feel good, and you know that you could really be changing or impacting someone's life. So that's why I'm on here doing this. But when I tell y'all, like, especially as a minor, bro, like you and me speaking one-on-one right now, Publix is going to pay for your college. You don't have to pay for it. Publix is going to take that responsibility off your parents' shoulder. Maybe they might not pay for the full thing, so try to get like some type of little like scholarship, because they have like a maximum that they pay. You know, they're going to pay only like a certain amount, but they pay for majority of it, okay? What other company does that? Public stocks are crazy. People retire millionaires, literally millionaires, after putting money into stocks. The hours are so flexible. And I know if you're a minor, you're in school because you have to be in school legally. So like, what other company is going to work around your schedule as good as Publix? All right, guys, sorry, my phone had actually died. But like I was saying, I know so many teenagers who work like in ice cream shops or like fast food places, and they do not care about your schedule. They're putting you to work on weekends. Forget about having your weekends off. They are not working with your school schedule. Like, they do not care. And Publix is not like that. So genuinely, like, take that into consideration. Now, like I was saying, I mean, most likely bagger and cashier, if you're a minor, the pay isn't going to be that crazy. It's always above minimum wage, and I would say you're starting at least at 10. Now, as a bagger, you have to wear this little badge that says we don't accept tips. Probably because baggers are the only ones that really like take you out to your cars. Now, obviously cashiers, you don't have to wear that badge, but I mean, I guess it makes sense because no one really ever tips a cashier. I've gotten tipped as a cashier, but like that's very, very rare. Now, when you're a bagger, you take people's carts outside, and usually they do tip you, at least in my area or in my Publix. They tip these baggers, and the bagger can be like, no, I don't want it. But the person is so persistent, and I've never seen no bagger get in trouble for taking the tip. Matter of fact, I've seen managers take tips, and I don't see no one get in trouble. So yeah, you kind of have to wear it, and it's up to you, I would say, if you're like, no, I don't want it, or if you just accept it right away. But I don't know. I ain't never seen no one get in trouble, but I'm not telling y'all to take it either. So that's up to you. I would definitely say that, I guess in that area, since the pay is similar between a bagger and a cashier, I would say that baggers make maybe a little bit more money. Why? Because you have tips. But you're technically not allowed to be taking tips. So people genuinely believe that you can't take tips and don't tip you sometimes. So it's not like a restaurant where they know they have to tip you. Like Publix, you know, you might not get tips. So I guess if you don't get tips, you're kind of making maybe a few cents less than a cashier, but it's nothing crazy. And I personally think it's fun being a bagger sometimes because you have a lot more leeway. I mean, you're walking around the store, you're kind of just like doing your own thing. You can walk outside. I think you can talk a little bit more. But definitely you also have responsibilities like cleaning the bathroom and stuff that those type of responsibilities cashiers don't have. So it kind of like weighs each other out. So I know this video is more like what do you get paid, but it's kind of like take into consideration the work that you're doing. So it's like, oh, okay, but as a bagger, I'm gonna make a little bit more money. Fine, then I'll be a bagger. Okay, but remember, you're making a few cents more because tips aren't guaranteed. Okay, you're making a few cents more if you get your tips. If you're not getting your tips, you're not making a few cents more than a cashier, okay? Because it's bagger's the lower one, then comes cashier, then comes customer service, okay? So as, you know, the position that is, I guess, the lowest, I don't like saying that word, like lowest. It makes it seem so, like, degrading. Like, you know, as being, let's say, the first position of entry, I think that's a better way to say it. Being the first position of entry of as a bagger, you definitely get paid the lowest, but tips can help make up for it, but it's not a guaranteed, you know, source of income, okay? You're not guaranteed that you're making those tips. And you're gonna probably, you know, clean bathrooms and do things that you probably don't want to do, especially at such a young age. So take that into consideration. Now, it's nothing excruciating. It's nothing crazy. I've talked about chores that baggers do in other videos. So if you want to check that out, if you're like, okay, but like, how often do I clean the bathroom? Or what exactly do I do in the bathroom? Check out those other videos because I go more in depth in that. Because I go more in depth about the case scenarios in those videos. But it's definitely, I guess, not as, let's say, calm as a cashier because you got to be doing more. But at the same token, because you're doing more, you have a little bit more leeway, you know, to talk or, you know, do whatever you want to do. A cashier makes maybe a few cents more, maybe like $10.25, $10.50, something like that. But you're kind of like stuck in the register all day. Like you're just stuck there. You know, you can't be moving around like baggers do. Oh, let me take your stuff outside. Oh, let me go get carts. Oh, I'm gonna just take a quick walk to aisle 2 and act like I'm doing something and no one's gonna notice that you're missing. No, cashier, like you have to be in your register all day. So, you know, it's a few cents more. Usually you don't get tips at all. So take that into consideration as well. I'm not even going to bother addressing customer service. I guess I'll leave that for a different video. If you're 17 and are genuinely interested, go ahead and comment down below and you can check out some of my other videos because at that point, if they're considering you at 17 years old, it's probably because they're just considering you as like a regular 18-year-old. You know, they're not thinking of you as a minor. So you could go ahead and check out those standard videos that I did for customer service staff. But I'll get into more depth on that in a separate video. Minors, for the most part, like 14, 15, 16, 17, you're not working customer service. So you're looking at between $10 and $12 an hour. Publix pays, obviously, hourly, and then they cash out weekly. So usually they have to have you set up your direct deposit so it can go straight into your bank account. If not, they'll pay you by check. And that's about it. I would say that $10, $12 is pretty good. Obviously, some people are like, oh, how much are you looking at weekly? You're looking at weekly as in how many hours you put in. If you put in 10 hours, you're probably looking at $100. Don't be thinking you're going to get $300 weekly if you're not putting in 30 hours. So it fluctuates. And always remember, if you work for a company, they do deduct some kind of money, you know, for taxes and stuff like that. So don't think that you're making exactly $10 an hour. If you're making 10, you're probably making like 9 something an hour. That's just, you know, the government at this point. So I would overall say, though, get yourself in because then you can move up, and evaluations do occur every 6 months. Every 6 months you get a raise. So even as a bagger or as a cashier, you are getting raises every 6 months. I think they're going to change this rule and have it be every year. So I would say apply now and maybe you can get an evaluation in the next 6 months. But if not, you're going to have to wait a year. But they're going to be doubling our raises every year. So instead of doing, you know, 2 raises a year for 50 cents, they'll just do 1 raise a year for $1. So I guess it makes kind of like sense, but I look forward to the 6 months better. But they're changing it, I believe. So just keep an eye out for that. And with that being said, I'm going to just conclude today's video. That's how much you're getting paid as a minor. Always remember, you know, does it equivalent, is that a word? Is it equivalent to the work you're putting in? Take that into consideration. And if you need me to cover anything else, or cover anything else in the minor kind of like situation, like, oh, what do I do as a minor as a cashier, not just the standard what do I do as a cashier video, then go ahead and let me know, because rules are very different when you are a minor. You always have to like clock out on time, and it's just a lot more strict. If you guys need some like pinpoints, like just go ahead and comment down below. Like, I got y'all. Like, whatever y'all want to see, I'm gonna put up in this channel, okay? So just make sure you let me know. And with that being said, I'll conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all soon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with some friends. Bye.